You're listening to part 2 of a conversation between Scott Jacobson, a lover of bands and a maker of music videos, and Tamara Federici, producer of Every Band Ever, already in progress.
A band for me that I could never get into in high school when, I knew people who are actually into them. I didn't really appreciate them until maybe it was just a few years ago, is The Cure. And they sort of tower over a lot of these other 80 bands. They are 80s bands. They are, some would say, probably the quintessential like 80s alternative band. Um, and they're kind of fascinating because they're a little bit schizophrenic in terms of just like they have the poppy songs are the poppiest things you've ever heard, and then but their bread and butter are these like long um, gothy dirges, and those are great too. Um, but they almost like for me, they almost come across listening to an album like Pornography as like the Grateful Dead of goths, where they can go on and on and on, and it's kind of a cool flavor, but it can get overwhelming. But I mean, I'm just like I haven't talked to you about it yet. Obviously, have you ever crossed paths with those guys?
Sure. They're actually, I mean, these people that you're mentioning are all people that I have good memories of working with, instead of like sometimes you get really weird memories, or like the police, it was weird. Like other things, it's kind of like not the best news, but these guys are all like Robbie Smith is fantastic. He's like you're saying, he's just like it's a special goth moment. Like it's happy, it's happy songs for sad people.
Wow. So you call him Robbie?
Yeah, I mean that's he prefers to be called Robbie.
First of all, you said that it was weird working with the police. Could you tell me? I mean, I don't mean to. You don't have to. I don't mean to pry. I don't want you to tell tales out of school. But was it
They're just
Sting?
difficult. I mean, it was Sting, but it was all of them. Like Synchronicity, that was like literally like Ghost in the Machine is about Sting believing that there is a ghost in a Mac Classic 2. Like that is legitimately
Wow.
that's how it
Wow.
worked. Yeah.
So
So
it's not a
that's
metaphor. Wow.
no, it's he just thought there were ghosts in Max. So, but he was also difficult. He was just really, it's not a joke that he was riding it on a horse. Like he's riding a horse into the recording studio. And then at one point we had to get down into like don't I gave them all sticks, and it was like instead of yelling at each other, just like maybe lightly poke each other and then let's get back to business. And it was just a pokeathon. It was so ridiculous. I can't.
Well, I see what you were going for, and I think that's interesting. That's why you're a sought after producer, is because you found other ways to channel their energy, um, and you were probably trying to channel some of that energy back towards the music, right? And the sticks were just kind of a point on the journey.
Yeah, they have so much energy that you have to
Well,
get it
that's
to go
he's known
somewhere
as having.
without it exploding.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think I know. Are you referencing his tantric adventures? Where he's a known practicer of the tantric arts, where you delay orgasm um, in your sexual experiences so as not to, I think, lose. I think part of it is that you don't want to lose that energy. So it's funny that you mentioned that. He was already kind of showing some tantric like uh, qualities in even back in the old police days.
I really like to just separate the work from the music.
Okay.
No, the tantrums. That's what I was
Oh,
saying.
tantrums. Okay. Oh,
Tantrums,
interesting.
not
So
the
he did
tantrums.
tantra and tantrums, or maybe
Right. Yeah. Maybe it's both that makes up the man.
yeah. Oh, this is already fascinating, and I'm learning. Like,
He's half tantra, half tantrum.
yeah, that's amazing. All right, but I don't want to
I
get too into the police
Yeah.
because I
I would
actually
say
hate
don't
them.
forget God, what is that?
Synchronicity.
Symphonicities. I think it's symphonicities, tantra, and tantrums. Do you know symphonicities? That he that I only did a day on and left. That was his. He did. he did orchestral parts to Synchronicity and some other songs that he had done. He called it Symphonicities.
That doesn't. Yeah, I'm with you. I think that would be bad. So, but the Cure.
Sure. Yeah, what can I tell you?
Well, I mean, I don't know. The Head on the Door is my favorite of their albums, and it's not the one with the necessarily the biggest hits. Um, it's got In Between Days, it's got Close to Me, um, it's got some of the dirgier stuff, but I think just it balances the moods a little bit better. I don't know. I just want to know what it was like to make an album that I think shows the Cure doing at their very peak, doing everything that they do well together.
Yeah, at their peak, I actually told him to channel his inner sixth grade girl, and that was going to be the best way to get out this type of an angst and gothiness was to go straight into what that might have been like. And so he journaled and like in a scented diary for during that peak time.
Do you
So
remember
every
the
time he
scent?
thought he was, I do, but I don't
I'm
know how to
sorry,
describe
I'm a
it.
super
It's
fan, and so I ask these questions.
no,
I'm
no, no,
trying to
no,
be
no. It's
in the
gonna
moment with you, and I want to smell the diary.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's sort of like a strawberry shortcake type of.
Wow.
If you,
No,
yeah,
yeah, I can totally
yeah,
conjure that.
it's that. And he also does the his Q's, his capital Q's are those twos, those curly Q twos.
Oh,
So
I
he
know
actually
exactly.
went,
Yes, yes.
yeah, he went hard into it, and that. But I feel like you can hear that in the music. It was more about channeling him as a lead singer into, uh, the first heartaches and the first oh my, feeling like you're gonna die for all this stuff. And I made a slam book for them, and I made them all write in it. And
Wow.
they got a little emotional, but I think that helped them come together as a band for Robbie and others.
So there's a song on the album called "The Baby Screams." When you're going through the track list, I don't know. Sometimes did that maybe strike? To me, it seems almost too on the nose as a Cure title. How is it tough not to veer into like self parody when you're working with a genius like that who he does so much of what he does is great, but then every once in a while he tips over just a little bit into the not great. How do you? I
Yeah,
guess all I'm asking is, as a producer, it's your job to keep him from tipping, and how do you do that in this case?
I let him tip sometimes
You let him tip.
because you can't stop him. You just have to gauge that most of the time it's going to work, and every once in a while he's going to go too far, and then you're just going to have to hope that that doesn't show up on the album, and sometimes it does.
Yeah, I guess it did. So the next album, a few of their biggest hits was on it. It's "Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me." I'm sure that just like Heaven, I believe is on this one. It was a
Huge,
double
yeah.
album. They were really swinging for the fences. They were poised, even though some would argue that their big breakthrough wasn't this one. It was Wish. This is a beloved album, and they also have some of their kind of, I don't know, real excursions like Love Cats, and it just shows a lot of different sides of the band that I think people didn't know about. And I just want you to walk me through, like, as a producer of a double album, and you're dealing with all this abundance. Like, how do you marshal it? How do you? Again, I think I'm wondering with a band like this, just is there any steering of the ship, or do you just let them go?
All right, so we put every song on that album onto a cootie catcher, and then we would do,
One of
you
those
know,
things that you play with in school. That's
right. It's paper. You have to lift up,
like amateur origami. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
yes,
A cootie
right.
catcher.
So we would choose the song that we were going to work on that day based on the cootie catcher. Um, and from that we would work from there, and it was sort of, we would see how far we could get in a week. Um, the one, I guess, just like Heaven was such a big hit, and it's so happy for being uh Robbie. You know what I mean? It's sort of he's a master at emotional moodiness. And that particular song, I feel like it feels really good
Yeah.
in a way that Friday I'm in Love was fake. That one sounds kind of real.
Oh, interesting. You're taking a swing at. Did you produce Friday?
I did. I did, but I don't. I know why we did that. But that was for more commercial reasons. And this was more like him kind of playing to his strengths.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, like the thing I liked about the other one, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, I think the magic about that wasn't in how we were producing it. It was that, teens added the goth to their name. Like all of a sudden we had Ned the Goth. And I feel like a lot of that, like the addition of like the goth, it is based on the power of how popular these songs got.
Wow.
So even though I don't think he ever says goth in his music ever.
No,
But
he never specifically has a song
he's
about
not like,
being
that's
goth.
me.
You're
Yeah,
right.
he doesn't self-identify as goth.
We've
He
kind of filled that in our
self-identifies.
memories. It's one of those things where it's
Right.
like, yeah.
We did.
If someone were to ask me, does Robert Smith have a song where he sings about being goth, and does he use the word goth? I would say absolutely, of course he does.
Right, but
when
that's too
now when you're
far.
really pointing it out, I don't think he does.
No, he doesn't. He right, that would have been tipping too far. So like
Okay,
that
all
babe,
right. So
that baby thing that you're like,
I'm seeing how you marshal these like creative forces. That's interesting. Now, Friday, I'm in Love. I have to come back to that. It's one of their biggest hits, and you just kind of like you just waved
I
it
don't.
off. I
I
mean, it might
do.
be modesty too. It might be something that I'm not
Is
taking
it
it
your
personally.
favorite hit? It's not your favorite hit.
It's not my favorite hit. I appreciate he worked every day of the weekend. There aren't a lot of songs where you can say that about.
Hmm.
I think it's a success lyrically and certainly melodically. I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm kind of I'm chasing down a lead here. It just feels like you maybe there's some personal reason you don't like that song.
I don't think there's a lot of uniqueness compared to the early parts. Like it's not pictures of you. It's not like, it feels very by the book for a group that is more playful than this.
Okay.
But
All
this
right.
is
I'm
what
not
they
going to tell.
wanted.
I can tell that maybe I touched a nerve. I don't know. I don't want to go too deep.
Well, I mean, but it's like you have to shepherd what the band wants unless you absolutely are like, this will ruin your career. And that's not going to ruin their career.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you did amazing work with them, and Boys Don't Cry. I mean, that's going way, way back in their discography. I'm sure you had nothing to do with that.
No, that was something like we were cultivating like
You're kidding
a
me.
beta guy's anthem. So even though it sounds like it's about alpha dudes being tough, it's actually about like,
Just beta
you're not
guys being
crying, I'm
themselves.
crying.
Wow.
Right.
That right there is an insight that because I always thought, yeah, it's okay to cry even if
Tough
you're
and
a
cry.
cool, strong guy, which most people who listen to the song
No.
probably think that they're that. They're like, yeah, you know what? Maybe I could show, wear my emotions on my sleeve a little bit more. But you're telling me it was actually, it was just a portrait of a weenie.
Yeah, well, I'm saying this is Strawberry Shortcake telling you that he's that he's trying to not cry, but he's crying. And also that's what is great about this band.
That's amazing. Yeah, when you talk about this stuff, I swear I can smell the Strawberry Shortcake. Like I'm like right there with Robert, and I'm seeing his thought process and seeing his curly, bubble letters. It's amazing.
Right, it makes it's so weird. It makes sense with everything, but it's true. I mean, I do want to say something about Pictures of You. Is I feel like the cool thing that he did there was there's this really long intro into it, and you already know something's happened and something's also gone wrong before you even hear the first wails of angstiness. Like you already,
Right.
It's sort of like you're not sure, but you already like the way that the tones that they used for that song, and that was all. That was all them. That was getting them into that second studio on that one. But that was all that. I mean, I think that's a really cool thing people don't understand about The Cure is that they musically can be defeated emotionally. there can be hope and then sadness, and then your song starts. And I feel like that's really unique and so Curie.
Yeah, that it really takes you on a journey, and you feel like really by the end of the intro, you're like, okay, I've had enough song, I'm good, and then the song really starts, and you're like, what? Like that wasn't even. I've already been on a journey, and now you're telling me
Right.
the journey begins here.
Right. It's like now I'm going to fill you in on what happened between the opening and the end of the opening.
I mean, you have to be the Cure to pull something like that off. I don't think the Police could do it.
I don't think so either. They'd just be poking each other.
Exactly.
Tune in next week for part 3. Scott Jacobson is an executive producer on Bob's Burgers, which is entering its 13th season on Fox. And Tamara Federici is still a golden god. The editor is Will Velasquez. The audio engineer is Clark Jackson. For updates, or to suggest a band, go to Every Band Ever on Instagram. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Slap it, flip it, rub it down, oh no. The girl is gonna do me.